Good morning everybody and welcome to Jim's 5am Club. And today I come to you from the steps of the magnificent Sydney Opera House. It's a beautiful day, the sky is blue, and it's going to be the beginning of an awesome weekend, we hope, for everybody. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to mix it up and we're going to do a bit of walking and talking. It's going to be a Volta style of vlog rather than the camera facing me and you seeing me talking. We're going to walk and talk, and I'm going to show you the sights of Sydney on this mild, beautiful winter's day. The topic that I want to chat to you about is something that is near and dear to my heart, and I'm sure it's near and dear to most people's hearts. When I was growing up, my parents, my grandparents, uncles, aunts, friends and family, school teachers, and everybody around me spent a lot of time trying to teach me and everybody else a good path in life and to guide us on the right path or the good path, and to teach us the difference between right and wrong. The big challenge that my generation faces is that all the things that we have been brought up where we knew that were absolutely right, there are people, the media and other organisations trying to prove to us that all of that is wrong, and all the stuff that we knew was wrong, we've got people trying to justify and tell us that all of those things are now right. So you can understand how challenging it is for me and others, and also for the new generations coming through, the young people who are trying to make a sense of this rapidly changing world where the rule book, to a certain extent, has been thrown out and everything goes. And you know, when everything goes as well. So what I want to chat to you about is how my generation grew up and what we use as the benchmark for right and wrong. I think when I was at school, the headmaster basically chatted to us and explained to us the difference between right and wrong. And in his words, he said that if you need to justify something to yourself, if you need to justify an action, then chances are that it's wrong. Because the mere fact that you need to justify it means that it's going against your conscience, and you need to do something to override your conscience. I guess when I was growing up, the lesson that I learned from my parents, uncles, aunts, grandparents, is that your conscience is the best way of assessing and guiding you in terms of what is right and wrong. And of course we have learnt what is right and wrong through our grandparents and through many of the role models that came before us, not forgetting that there are thousands of years of cultural input into each of our families, and that each generation carries on from the previous generations and from the lessons learnt, because there are a lot of lessons which are passed on from generation to generation, and those lessons have been learnt through pain and suffering. So rather than each generation going through and creating their own rights and wrongs and learning through suffering, there's been a hope that a lot of that is eliminated through cultural and generational learnings. Anyway, so how can we use this? To a lot of the young people growing up, you need to have a baseline, you need to have a benchmark, and you need to stand for something. Because if you don't stand for everything, or anything, if you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for everything, and you'll end up being a pawn or a player in everybody else's game except your own. So my advice to young people, to my family, to my friends, is make sure you know what is right for you and what your values are. Because if you don't have that compass, if you don't have the benchmark, the baseline to which to compare things to, then you don't know where you're going to end up. Because each deviation, each variation takes you further and further away from your core values, and one thing leads to another, and before you know it, you may end up on another path taking you in a completely different direction, and then you look back over your life, you look in the mirror, and you say, how did that happen? Where did I go wrong? I should have turned left at Albuquerque, as that famous line from the cartoons reminds me of. So how do young people use this? Young people need to spend time reflecting in terms of what their values are, reflecting on what they believe is right and wrong, and trying to live a life which is congruent with those beliefs. Because it's only through congruency that your identity is created. It's only through living to a lifestyle that you've designed for yourself, or you've adopted from your parents, friends, and role models, that you'll actually live the life that you want. It's tempting to experiment. It's tempting to do things on the trot, to chop and change. But as we alluded to before, if you're not careful, one thing leads to another, and before you know it, you're lost on a path, and you won't be able to get yourself back to where you were. So in terms of degrees of right and wrong, we've learnt over the years that something, once you've decided what your inventory of right and wrong is, then you can't deviate from it. Either it's right or it's wrong, and you just got to stick to it. You know, you can't just decide and vary your values on a daily basis depending on the situation, because your character is created by the habits that you have and the values that you follow. So you can't have a character, or a strong character, or a dependable character, if you're always changing, and you're changing your values, and you're rejigging your rights and wrongs. So let's finish off now. I'm back at Circular Quay. It's quiet, as you can see. It's quiet. It's a Saturday. It's quiet. But we'll finish off with a positive affirmation. I'm alive. I am well, and I feel great. To all my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant. And to everybody, make sure you assess and reassess your core values, that you know what is right and wrong for you, and to express yourself according to your core values and to your conscience, so that you sleep well at night, you end your days living the life that you have planned or that you desire, and that you're an ambassador, a great ambassador to your family, to your culture, to your religion, and that people can look up to you and say, well, if he can do it, or if he can live a lifestyle like that, an honourable lifestyle that is, then why can't I? You must never forget that we are role models to the people around us. We give them hope, they give us hope, and hopefully we can bounce off each other and lift each other and make for a better community, and to help us all live a better last part of our lives. Take care, and until tomorrow, 5 a.m, I look forward to chatting to you again. And thanks once again for coming on this lovely Volta through Sydney on this glorious, glorious day. Bye, and we'll chat again.